Hello, everyone. Welcome to another interesting episode of Her Faith Corner. I'm Nalini, and along with me is Jalen. And today we're going to talk about one of the most interesting topics that is so dear to our hearts, and that's thriving friendships. So, Jalen, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, so I grew up hearing a statement. It says, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. The idea behind this is simple. That means, our friends shape us, they influence our decisions, our thoughts, and therefore it's important that we choose our right friends in our lives.
Yes.
Okay. C.S. Lewis's famous statement on friendship, he says, friendships are born when you look at another person and you say, you too. I thought I was the only one. That means there's a shared interest. Maybe we both like the same sport or we have had the same experiences, or we are in the same age group, and that becomes our bonding experience between two friends. Amos 3:3 says, can two people walk together unless they are in agreement with each other? These days, friendships are also built on shared weaknesses. For example, if I'm chronically online and I have another person who has the same weakness as I have, so we start bonding over that. And that maybe is not the right kind of friends or right way of building a friendship, isn't it?
Very true, Jalen. Thinking of like-mindedness of people, since this is also Christmas season, we see that the friendship that lies between Elizabeth and Mary, I was just thinking of it. How they could be, they are related basically, but then also seeing the age gap, can we say that, can there be a friendship? But, when I was reading through the Bible, it says Luke 1:24, after Elizabeth becomes pregnant, her thought was like, it says that the verse says that she secluded herself for 5 months and she pondered over a thought that, how God has favored her so much, and also that He has removed the reproach from her life. So when you think back her life, she is now disconnected from people, and there she is, pondering over the goodness of God over her life, and she is filled with gratitude. And look, on the other side is Mary. Mary is visited by, the angel, and the angel also gives the information that your cousin Elizabeth is bearing child at an old age. And now it says that Mary in 130, Luke 130, Mary hurries herself and now she makes this journey to this hill country, and she has to travel 100 miles. So I'm thinking of what all would have run through her mind. Am I going to be the vessel that's going to carry the Messiah? And you know what? My cousin, and who's very old, she had a very bad name all through her life, being barren, and now God has blessed her, and she was filled with wonder. And here is somebody who is filled with wonder and much thankfulness to the Lord. And here is Elizabeth, who is also filled with gratitude. And the verse says in 139, Luke 139, the moment, Mary greets Elizabeth, she says that the baby in me leapt for joy. Looking at that, it just says like, it sees like, what, in this friendship, there is so much of joy, that is very heavenly in nature. And also we see that here, Elizabeth is not envious of the fact that, hey, come on, in those days, many people dreamt that, am I going to be the vessel who will carry the Messiah? And here is Elizabeth, who is not envious, looking at Mary and saying like, hey, how come you are carrying, but rather she is like, it says with a loud voice, she was exclaiming with joy. So I see in this friendship, even though there is an age gap between both of them, it's beautifully bridged, because the likeness of mind, both of them had, being filled with gratitude and thankfulness and the thoughts of God, they could connect so quickly.
Yeah, what a high quality friendship to have, right? I was thinking Mary and Elizabeth could have easily bonded over their fears,
Yes.
uncertainty, people's opinions because of the kind of situation they both are in. But instead, they chose to talk about what God was doing in their lives. They were absolutely excited about each other's life, the work God was doing, and that was the center of their conversations. They could have easily spoken about Zacharias losing his voice or Joseph not being sure of what is happening, but no, I mean, they had their individual walk with God, and that is what flowed out of their mouths as well. So the conversation, like you said, was heavenly in nature.
Yes.
Right. One other thing I observed is that the age difference between Mary and Elizabeth, I think that was quite a lot, right? They had a big difference, or we can call a gap as well. And the thing that bridged the gap between these ages was like mindedness. They shared the same faith, the same God, and that is what bridged the gap between these two ages. Now, there is another example of friendship in the Bible, which is Ruth and Naomi. Okay, sometimes friendships are also based on benefits, right? It's transactional in nature. It depends on what you can give me and what I can give you.
Yes.
In this friendship between Naomi and Ruth, they are of different ages, but um, it was not based on the benefits they both could receive from each other because of the life's experiences between Ruth and Naomi. Naomi is in no place to give anything to Ruth, right? And Ruth could not receive anything from her. But Ruth was a very unique friend to Naomi, right? She could have easily chosen another way like Orpah did. She could have left Naomi and gone her way, but then she chose to stick with Naomi. She is a classic example of a friend that loves at all times, a friend that sticks closer than a brother, right? And her love towards Naomi was self-sacrificial, right? She never thought of anything about herself, and she just thought of Naomi and the welfare of Naomi, and therefore she said, I will go with you, I will stay with you, your people will be my people. And she continued to be with Naomi. She continued the journey with her, and then they also went to Bethlehem, and we know how the story ended, right?
Yes, very true, Jolene. What I love about the spirit of Ruth is, she had a sphere of faith which was absolutely motivated by love. You know, Song of Solomon 8:7 says, many waters, cannot quench love. And here is she who is bombarded with so many inhibitions in her life, but nothing stopped her. She had a faith which is absolutely motivated by the love of God that caused her to go beyond, into the unknown place, knowing just the God of Israel and trusting that, God's people and the place is going to be an absolute refuge. And what I really see about Ruth's faith is that her faith was not impacted by Naomi's bitterness. So we see that even though Naomi was very bitter, the faith that Ruth displayed carried Naomi through in all this and brought her to a place of abundance where she gets to taste of the God's goodness. So just looking at this experience, what tells me, Jolene, is we can have phases in our life where we could become bitter towards life or even towards God. I think having known the end of the story of Ruth, we know that God brought them to a better place. I think it's good for us, if we are hit and we are stuck like Naomi, rather than, yes, God's grace is anyway going to carry us to a broader place. But than waiting for that to happen, can I look out for people, young people who are very hungry for God, who are hungry about, the Bible, or hungry about the body of Christ. I think, when we get to see people who have a faith adventure like that, new people who are excited about God, and when we get to hang around them, I think so, it would help us a lot to take our eyes off the bitterness that we are going through and eventually look to God and get landed in the place where, we appreciate the goodness of God. Don't you think so, Charlene?
Yes. So, in conclusion, yes, God calls us to a higher level of friendship where our friendship is not limited to natural interests or shared experiences, but what matters to God is what matters to me. And then we are both excited about what God is doing in each other's life. We both have our walk with God, then our conversations are centered around that. It flows from our individual life with God. right? So this is the kind of friendship that lasts, and this is the kind of friendship that transforms our lives, right? I'd like to read a verse from Ecclesiastes 4:12 and end, and this says, by yourself you are unprotected, with a friend you can face the worst. Can you round up a third? A three-stranded rope isn't easily snapped. So Christ in the middle of our friendship makes the whole difference and makes a lot of difference. So with this, we come to an end to today's session. Thank you for listening and have a great season.